So, in reality, we had an already, as it says, on the real timer, down almost 10 minutes. So, I was already. I didn't notice that I was so incredibly late on anything. So, yeah, basically having some struggles to get stuff done properly. But well, at the very least, we have audio, and at the very least, we can be here today. I think I shouldn't be forgetting anything in particular because also it happens that, yeah, it isn't really that much of a. Not that it isn't special, but rather that it isn't that much complicated to set up this. Or at least now that I finally got to proper practice onto how to do it. So yeah, we are. There it is. Here we are. Hello everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another beautiful session, another beautiful occasion in which we are going to read some Mahabharata. Hello everybody. Hello. Hello lurkers. Hello dear watchers. Hello Ronspoon in today in particular. I think the bot is there. I think probably. Let me see. I didn't check that before. Let me exclamation mark raid. No, okay. At the very least, now the vote isn't there, so just in case, I also will copy this. Just in case, because the other day it was there when I wanted to use it, so yeah. We have that. Something else? No, I think nothing really more to add. So yeah, hello everybody. And well, basically that. Today we have some Mahabharata to read, because not much more is really being part of what needs to be happening today. Or at least right now. Tonight, I don't even remember what we have tonight, but well, myself is going to be preoccupied with what we will have tonight. Now we have this. Para-pam-pam. Para-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pa-pam-pam-pam-pam-pam. This. Canto 220. Arjuna Vanavasa Parva continua. We were on, I think it was, yeah. If I'm not wrong, or well, it isn't that I am not wrong, it is that I did some little bit of checking beforehand. It is basically now the story of how Arjuna is in the middle of his exiliation arc, quote unquote, and he is getting to right now to liberate from a curse five different alligators or crocodiles. I don't remember which one was it. Um, and basically, he is doing it. I think because he wants to. I don't think there is any real need for it to happen. Like, oh no, okay. I remember correctly. The story was also that it needed to be him who did that, because if he were to be the one who did it, those alligators will be really liberated from their curse. And if not, they will never have the possibility of being basically freed from the transforming curse, because they were Apsaras, I think, or Amsabaratas, basically avatars of very. I think it was something like very. What is it? Joyful? No, very. What is the term? I don't want to use that word, but the best definition is very trolls, very intense trolls that basically needed to be corrected in Amsabaratas, and that is why they ended up being transformed or reborn, I think, in this case, as a crocodile. So, yeah, basically, we have to read from that whole information and see if I think he will obviously, but if he is capable of liberating uh, four others. He already did one, so we have the context that I just provided from the first one that was liberated. Now we have to see if he is able to do it with the other four. So yeah, basically we simply have to continue. As I said before, yeah. Canto 220. Arjuna Vanavasa Parva continued. By Sampayana said, now the mighty Arjuna sees all the holy rivers, lakes, and shrines on the shore of the western sea. Vihatsu arrives in sacred and wondrous Prabhasa in disguise. Madhusana Krishna, however, knows that he has come and goes to meet his friend and cousin, Kunti's son. Meeting They embrace fondly and ask after each other's well-being. The two great friends, who are none other than the rishis Nara and Narayana of old, sit down together. Krishna asks Arjuna, "Why, Pandava, do you wander the earth from Tirtha to Tirtha, shrine to shrine?" Arjuna tells him all that has happened, and then the incomparable Vrishni hero says softly, "This is as it should be." When they have spent some time at Prabhasa, Krishna and Arjuna go to Raivataka mountain to pass some days there. Before they arrive, Krishna has the mountain adorned by countless fire artisans. At his command, a goodly amount of food is laid out there. Enjoying everything, Arjuna sits with Vasudeva to watch the actors and dancers perform. Finally, the noble Pandava dismisses them all with every courtesy and stretches himself on a great and marvelous bed prepared for him. Lying there, he describes his travel to Krishna, telling him all about the holy rivers, the forests, lakes, and mountains that he has seen. As he speaks, O Hanamehaya, lying upon that unworldly bed, sleep steals over him. At dawn, he awakens to sweet songs, mellifluous vina nadam, and the praises and blessings of bards. When he has finished his morning ablutions and worship, the great dark Vrishni comes affectionately to him. Riding in a golden chariot, they set out for Dwabaraka, capital of the Yadavas, O Hanamekaya. Dwabaraka is brilliantly decked out, adorned to receive Kunti's heroic son. Eager to set eyes on Arjuna, the people pour out into the streets and highways in thousands upon thousands. Okay, in public squares and thoroughfares, countless women are out together with the men. In the teeming, milling crowds of bojas, brishnis, and alhacas, all the noble scions of the race welcome Arjuna reverently. He worships those that are his elders, receiving their blessings, and blesses those younger than him. The young Yadava men receive him excitedly and warmly, and he repeatedly embraces those that are his equals in age. Slowly they make their way to Krishna's marvelous palace, full of untold riches, rare gemstones, and other indescribable treasures, replete with every object of enjoyment. Arjuna spends many days there with Krishna. Also, now that I finished this, I wanted to say I remember why is there no mention to what I was trying to talk about before. Uh, that whole story of the alligators was also finished, but I think I was if I wasn't drunk, I was at the very least exhausted. The last time I read this, that is why that memory wasn't on my mind at that moment when I tried to remember. So yeah, basically, basically, what more ahead than what I was thinking about. And we are saying simply this that Arjuna, the one who was exiled, needs to, or not, it isn't that he needs, he is visiting different countries, different kingdoms, and spending time with everybody, being kind of a good Samaritan, as one would say. And well, basically, I don't think also there is that much to really add over here. There, there could be a lesson somewhere like probably he worships those that are his elders, receiving their blessings, and blesses those younger than him. In the sense of, we could try to also imply, because it is so many times said, that if we have the possibility, we should try to be like, for example, Arjuna himself, in the sense of worshiping our elders, receive their blessings, and bless those that are younger than us, for the sake of probably not simply, as it tries to put it here, not simply to attain Swarga, one of the main concerns of the whole Mahabharata, and that is basically realms of blessing or infinite amounts of new lives in which we have good karma also, but in a more quote unquote realistic way, because it is important to show and to properly pay heed to those who come before us, or and also to those who are going to inherit almost what is going to be left after we depart from this world. So that is why, in that sense, it is necessary, or I don't think necessary, it is interesting to see at the very least in which ways it could be applied to anybody, and not simply said as, yeah, this happened only to Arjuna, but rather it could be literally extracted into no matter who it was, anybody. So yeah, interesting as always. But well, continuing with the Canto 221, Subhadra Harana Parva. Harana, wow. My Sampayana said, Best of Kings, a few days after Arjuna's arrival, a great festival begins upon the Raivataka mountain, a festival of the Vrishnis, Anjakas and Bojas of all the Yadavas. During the mountain festival, the Kshatriyas of those tribes give away untold wealth in charity to thousands of Brahmanas. Rajan, all around that massive stand countless magnificent mansions of wondrous beauty, all embellished with jewels, as are the artificial trees in vivid and fantastical colors. The musicians strike up their lively song, the singers sing, and the gifted dancers wave their lively rhythms. How glowingly handsome are the Varishni yachts, majestic and vibrantly strong, wearing fine jewelry, riding in chariots chased with gold. Yes, the great citizens of Dwaraka turn out in hundreds of thousands on foot in fine chariots with their wives and entourages. And so, hello, welcome. Today we are simply dealing with some Mahabharata, so welcome. I am. I hope you are having a nice, just in case, a nice time zone, and I hope you can enjoy your stay here. So yeah, basically that. We're reading so far about Arjuna, someone that was exiled, visiting a new country, and we're right now being quote unquote travel through how incredibly the city itself is. So yeah, basically that. The citizens of Dwaraka. So basically, we're in the city of Dwaraka right now. So there it is. Let me continue. Mm, The Lord Balarama Halahudia is there roving where he pleases, inebriated with a surfeit of wine, his wife Revatahi with him, and followed by numerous musicians and singers. The awesome king of the Vrishnis, Ugrasena, is there, with his 1,000 wives, also followed by sweet singers. Rukmini's son, Aniruddha, and Shambha are also there, both tameless in battle, also flushed with drink, wearing the costliest garments and garlands of supernatural beauty, wandering about like two devas. Oh no. Akrura Sarana, Gada Bavaru, Nisatha, Charudeshna, Prithu, Viprithu, Satyaka Satyaki, Bangakara, Maharava, Hardikya, Udhava, and countless others whose names are lost, all adore the mountain festival on the Raivataka, each with his wives and with bands of singers. When the festival of indescribable grandeur begins, Krishna and Arjuna range the place, arm in arm, as they roam together. Gladly they see Vasudeva's exquisite daughter Bhadra, beautifully attired and bejeweled, surrounded by her Sakhis. Arjuna takes one look at her, and Kamadeva pierces his heart fairly through. Bharata, the Purushavyaragra, Krishna sees Arjuna gaze adoringly at the princess and says with a smile, Ah, how can this be? That the heart of a Vanaprastha, a forest rover, is shaken by Kama? Yeah. Basically, what was it? A new type of Cupid. That girl is my half sister, Partha, and Balarama's Sarana's sister. Be you blessed. Her name is Badra, and she's my father's favorite daughter. So tell me if your heart is fixed upon her, and I will speak to my father Vasudeva myself. Arjuna replies, she is Vasudeva's daughter and Vasudeva's sister. She is so beautiful. Who will resist her? Krishna, if this sister of yours, princess of the Vrishnis, becomes my wife, I will truly find fortune in all things. Tell me, Hanardana, how can I make her mine? I will do anything that a man can possibly do to gain her. Krishna says, Purusharishabha, for Kshatriyas the way of Swayambara is ordained, yet it is uncertain, chancy, Partha, since we do not know the girl's mind. For daring Kshatriyas, the sages advocate marriage by abduction. Arjuna, carry my beautiful sister away forcibly, for who knows whom she might choose at a Swayambara. Having decided, Krishna and Arjuna sent swift messengers to Yudhishthira in Indraprastha, telling him what they intend. Yudhishthira gives his consent immediately. Uh, that is one of the amazing things of this that I can't even try to say really that much because oh yeah, it is in, the sages advocate marriage by abduction. What? So yeah, yeah, basically that uh, book Mahabharata so far. Nothing much to really say. We're going to act as if that was something completely normal in nowadays society. So continuing with this Canto 222. Subhadra Harana Parava continued. Vaisampayana said, Arjuna receives news of Yudhishthira's concurrence, O Hanamekaya. He goes to Krishna's father, Vasudeva, and gets his consent as well. The bull of the race of Bharata learns that Subhadra has gone to the Raivataka and rides there in Krishna's mighty golden chariot, upon which rows of little bells ring, in which every kind of weapon is stored, which is as bright as blazing fire, whose wheels rumble like thunderheads, to which the magnificent steeds Sabya and Sugriva are yoked, which Radha strikes terror in the heart of all enemies. Wearing Kavacha, carrying his swords, his fingers seated in gloves of leather, Arjuna sets out as if on a hunt. Meanwhile, Subhadra has worshipped Raivataka, prince among hills. She has worshipped the gods and made the Brahmanas say blessings over her. She has walked around Raivataka in Pradakshina and is on her way back to Dwaravati, when all on a sudden Kunti's son, shot through by the flowery shaft of Kama, swoops upon the flawless Yadava girl, hauls her into his chariot, and flashes away toward, towards Indraprastha, that tiger among men, with the girl of sweet smiles. When Subhadra's armed guards see what has happened and there is nothing they can do about it, they run shouting and crying out back to Dwabaraka, arriving in the city and rushing into the divine Sabha, the Sudharma. Hysterically, they describe what has happened to the court's chief official, telling of Partha's inexorable prowess. That man sounds his golden trumpet echoingly, calling everyone to arms. From every side, the Brishnis, Bohas, and Andhakas swarm in response to the clarion blast. Those that had been eating leave their food and come. Those that had been drinking fling aside their goblets and fly to answer the sounds of for danger. Mm. Goblets. I don't. I mean, yeah. Mm, the sense of what was it? The sense of Ortecal. What was it? The kind of destiny or something like that is stronger than some goblets. So well. Those Purushabhyaras, irresistible Yadava warriors, fill the grand sabha and take their places upon the 1,000 golden thrones within the court, its floor covered by unworldly carpets, and its walls and seats sparkling with myriad jewels, with corals that blaze like red fire. Indeed, they take their places upon those thrones, like fires ablaze themselves, just fed with fresh. Shall I try to say this word? Shall I not try to say it? Uh, we acknowledge that there is a word here, and we are going to skip it with fresh word to burn more brightly. When they all sit in that sabha that is indeed like a court of the devas, the chief official of the sabha relates what Arjuna has done, while those standing behind him who bring the news are details, almost all of them red-eyed at that hour we drink. The haughty Brishni heroes rise as a man in rage. Some cry, yokes our chariots, others say, fetch our weapons, others roar, get our bows and our armor. Some of them shout commands to their saratis to harness their rathas, while some are so impatient that they run out to do it themselves, yoking their fine horses caparisons in gold to their chariots. Such a din they make, while their chariots, mail and standards are being fetched. Fair and tall as the peak of Kailasa, wearing blue robes, colorful banamalas of wildflowers from the forest, great, proud, and drunkest of all, Baladeva, the mighty Balarama says, fools, what are you doing when Krishna sits silent? All of us rage and roar in vain until we know his mind. Let Hanardana Mahatman tell us what he thinks we should do, and then do what he says. Immediately, the others all cry as a man, excellent, excellent, and then fall silent and sit down again in their places in the Sudkarma. Decorum restored, Balarama Parantapa says to Krishna, why, Krishna, do you sit silently gazing? Achyuta, for your sake we welcome and honor Kunti's son, but it seems that the wretch hardly deserves our adorations. What honorable or well-born man would break a plate after having eaten from it? Even if he did wish to marry her, should he not have remembered how well we treated him and not acted so rashly? The Pandava has shown us and you his contempt today. He has dared outrage Subhadra. He has courted his own death. Oh my god. It has been so long since I since I list a sentence like this. Oh man. Ah, man, he has courted his own death. Flashback. Yeah, literally. I mean, we are going. I think this one is worthy of analyzing. So when I finish this, we are going to analyze it because this one in particular seems interesting. So yeah, he has set his foot upon the crown of my head. Krishna, shall I bear this tamely? Shall I not resent it, even as a deadly snake does being trodden upon? Why, by myself, I will rid the earth of all the Kauravas today. I will not tolerate what Arjuna has done. To the last man, every Boja, Brishni, and Anjaka present approves of what Baladeva says. They roar all together, as reverently as a battery of deep drum rolls or thunderclouds. I guess that is what I wanted to say here. It could have been different, but the way in which Balarama talks about all of these problems ends up being more like instigatory than to really have an interest in solving anything that has happened. Because, let's say, being so already set on the idea, and I will even go as far as to say, on an even deeper desire of destroying all the Kauravas, as it says here, Probably it was a quote unquote ill intention here. I hope, and even more it seems, that this guy, who was it? Krishna, is going to be not so angry about what has happened. So maybe they, or not maybe, what is really there, even if Krishna might be angry, is that really, in a sense, it is not so important, or it is at the very least interesting to analyze if we are surrounding ourselves with good people, or rather with those who are in some ways toxic to us. Because I will predict even more that it is interesting always to have different points of view, but if we are getting altered in our vision as to what it is that it tries to mean to be with somebody, and what their actions are represent, or what their actions should represent to us even more, in a sense of we're directly being told how we should think. If we have people like that around us, it might be interesting to see in which ways they are influencing us. Because also that's something that is said here in the Mahabharata is it is good to take notice and to learn from our elders. But in some cases like this one, probably it isn't so um, beneficial to observe what others say for the sake of almost making us angry, but instead to simply let go of those feelings. Because probably also in an even deeper analysis, trying to put two completely, what was it, house powers of kingdoms against one another wouldn't really be clever. So yeah, something like that. But we are going to see. I hope Krishna also quote unquote validates what I said here, because he didn't seem to be angry. So I don't know. Canto 223. Harana Harana Parva by Sampayana said, when all the Vrishni heroes repeatedly echo Balarama's angry sentiments, Krishna speaks these words of true Dharma, full of profound meaning. Arjuna has not insulted or dishonored our clan by what he did. Rather, he has honored us. Partha knows that we, Satwatas, are never mercenary. The Pandava also thought the outcome of a Swayambara was uncertain. Then, who could approve of being given a bride as a gift, just as if she were some animal? And what man on earth worth his name will sell his child? I believe that Arjuna considered all these possibilities, saw their shortcomings, and only then decided to abduct Subhadra, as is consistent with the highest Kshatriya Dharma. This is a proper and equal match. Subhadra is a well-renowned girl, and Partha also has great fame. It is not possible that Arjuna thought carefully of all this before abducting her. Who will not want Arjuna, scion of the race of Bharata and Shantanu, son of Kuntiboja's daughter? Besides, for his friend and ally, other than the three-eyed Lord Mahadeva, no one in the three worlds, including Indra and the Rudras, can vanquish Partha in battle. His chariot has much fame, and yoked to it are my own horses. As a warrior, Partha has incomparable renown. His lightness of hand is legend. Who will defeat him? This is my opinion, and I think that you should go happily after Arjuna and bring him back to Dwabaraka with conciliation. If he defeats us in battle and returns to his city, we will have lost our honor, but in conciliation there is no disgrace. There is more. Yeah, yeah. There is basically that. Basically what I said. In that sense, the capacity that the king had to accept different events, and even more to unionize the two visions that were existing in the case of Arjuna doing what he did on one hand, and trying to also appease his own kingdom. Both of those things, I will say, probably they were perfectly done, because as it says over here, uh, these words. of true Dharma. It is incredibly peaceful the way in which he worded himself, so I wouldn't even get angry if the king was trying to defend what Arjuna did or not, because it was truly, uh, yeah, in the same words that he used, a conciliatory movement instead of simply trying to disgrace themselves by fighting somebody who could probably destroy all of them. So yeah, basically something like that. O king, they listen to Krishna and do as he says. Accosted with respect by the Vrishnis, Arjuna returns to Dwaraka and is formally married to Subhadra, adored by the sons of the house of Vrishni. Steeped in every pleasure, in delight, Arjuna spends a full year in the ocean city. Later, he lives with Subhadra and spends the final year of his exile in sacred Pushkarakshetra. When he has served 12 years in exile, he returns home to Kandavaprastra, and first of all comes before the king and worships his elder brother. He next reveres the Brahmanas of the court. Only then does he go to Draupadi. In the grip of jealousy, Draupadi flashes angrily at him. Why are you here, Kaunteya? Go to the Satwata princess. A second knot always loosens the first one, and Krishna sobs piteously. Dhananjaya pacifies her, repeatedly asking her to forgive him. He then goes back to where Subhadra waits outside the city, wearing red silk. Arjuna brings her into the palace dressed not as a princess, but as a simplest cowherd. However, she only looks more regal and beautiful than ever in that humble attire. Bhadra, of great fame, of the big and slightly red eyes, first goes to touch the feet of Kunti and have her blessing. Overwhelmed by affection, Kunti lovingly sniffs the head of the young woman of flawless features and pronounces infinite blessings upon her. Then Subhadra, her face like the full moon, goes to Draupadi and says straight away, I am your Dasi, your maid. Krishna sums up and hugs Vasudeva Krishna's sister to her in love, crying, May your husband be without an enemy. Delighted, Subhadra cries back, Tadastu, so be it. From that time, O Hanamekaya, those great Kshatriyas, the Pandavas, live in great happiness together, and Kunti, too, is happy. When Krishna Parantapa, Nishkalankatma, his eyes also pure as lotus petals, hears the Pandavutama, Arjuna has returned to Indraprastha. He goes there with Balarama and other great Shuras and Kshatriyas of the Vrishni and Anhaka tribes, and with his own brothers, sons, and many magnificent heroes. Krishna comes with a great army to protect him. With him comes the most liberal and intelligent Akrura, Senapati of the Vrishni legions. Anahiristi of mighty prowess, Udhava of great fame and wisdom, Mahatman and Brihaspati's own Sijya ride with soaring Krishna, as do Satyaki, Salyaka, Kritavarman, Satwata, Pradyumna, Samba, Nisatha, Sanku, Charudetsna, Shili of untold might, Briprithu, Sarana Mahabahu, Gada, greatest among learned men. These and many other Varishnis, Bohas and Anhakas come to Indraprastha, bringing wedding gifts for Arjuna and Subhadra, past counting. When King Yudhishthira hears that Madhava has arrived, he sends the twins out to receive him, received by Nakula and Sahadeva, the glittering Vrishni host, flying bright flags and standards, enters Kandavaprastha. The streets have been swept, washed, and decked with garlands and a profusion of flowers. They are again sprinkled with water mixed with sandalwood paste, which renders them cool and fragrant. The scent of burning aloe fills every corner of the city, which bustles with its healthy, happy people, with fine merchants and tradesmen. Purushottama, Kesava Krishna, Mahabaho enters Indraprastha with Rama and many other great Vrishnis, Bohas and Anhakas, and is worshipped by the people and by thousands of Brahmanas. At last, Krishna arrives at the king's palace, which is like the palace of Indra himself. Yudhishthira first welcomes Balarama, the eldest, with every ceremony. He then sniffs the top of Krishna's head and embraces him. Krishna, gratified, humbly worships Yudhishthira. He pays homage to Bhima, that great tiger among men. Kunti's son Yudhishthira now receives the other Vrishni, Boha and Anhaka chieftains with honor and appropriate ceremony. He reveres his elders and affectionately welcomes the rest as equals. In the return, some of them worship him, while others greet him affectionately. Now, Krishna, of immense fame, gives the clan of Arjuna, the bridegroom, lavish wealth. He gives Subhadra the gift that her kinsfolk have sent. Krishna gives the Pandavas 1,000 chariots of gold, adorned with fine rows of bells, each yoked to 4 pedigreed horses, and driven by the finest charioteers. He gives them 10,000 cows from the land of Mathura, of all rich coloring and yielding copious milk. Happily, Hanardana also gives 1,000 mares with golden harnesses, steeds white as moonbeams. He gives them 1,000 mules, highly trained and obedient, and quick as the wind. These are white as well, with black mane. He of the lotus petal-like eyes gives the Pandavas 1,000 young girls, skilled at drawing baths and pouring wine, and at every other form of personal service, all of them virgins, yet to have their first period, each one beautifully clad and wearing 100 beads of gold around their necks, their skins like satin. What the fuck? Anyways. Hanardana also gives them lakhs of draft horses from the land of the Balikas as part of Subhadra's opulent dowry. Krishna, best of the Dasarajas, also gives Subhadra 10 palanquins of gold, blazing like fire, some purified and some still ore. Balarama Halayudha, ever fond of battle and brave deeds, gives Arjuna 1,000 war elephants, tuskers with ichor flowing in 3 streams from their great bodies for a wedding gift. Each one is as big as a mountain peak, inexorable in battle, carrying fine thrones upon their richly caparisoned backs, adorned with golden ornaments, tinkling golden bells. It is a tide of treasures that the Yadavas give as Subhadra's dower, and the fine silks, shawls, and carpets are the foam of that great wave. The war elephants, its crocodiles and sharks, and the banners and flags, its floating reeds, all these flow into the wealth of the Pandava ocean, filling it to the brim, so that their enemies grieve sorely. Yudhishthira accepts those gifts humbly and worships all the great warriors of the Vrishni and the Anhaka races, the shining heroes of the Kurus. The Vrishnis and the Anhakas spend their days together in uninterrupted revelry and enjoyment, even as good men do in heaven's delights after they die. The Kurus and the Yadavas amuse themselves variously, at times their loud shouts of joy echoing against the sky, and the clapping of hands too. Many days they spend together, in sport and merriment of every sort, the guests being honored and adored by their hosts, until at last the Yadavas turn home towards Dwavarati upon the sea. The great Vrishni and the Nahaka warriors set out with Balarama as their head. They take with them the gemstones that shine with the purest rays, given them by the Kurustamas or Mahabharata. Krishna Mahatman remains in Indraprastha with Arjuna. They range the banks of the Yamuna together in quest of deer. Krishna hunts both deer and boar with Arjuna, piercing them with arrows. In a while, Krishna's favorite sister Subhadra gives birth to a resplendent son, even as Puloma's daughter Sachi, queen of Devaloka, brought Jayanta forth. The child has long arms, a white chest, and eyes as big as a bull's. They named that little hero, that bane of his enemies, to be Abhimanyu, because he is both fearless and ferocious. Arjuna begets the magnificent prince in the Satwata princess, even as fire from a sami twig by friction. When Abhimanyu is born, Yudhishthira gives 10,000 cows and golden coins past counting to holy Brahmanas. From his infancy, the boy is a favorite of Krishna, Arjuna, and his uncles, even as the moon is of all Manavas. When he is born, Krishna performs the rites of childhood for him, and Abhimanyu grows like the moon waxing during the bright fortnight. Quickly, he masters the Vedas and the Shastra, the use of weapons both mundane and celestial, which has four great branches and ten smaller divisions, from his father Arjuna. Endowed with great strength, the boy also learns how to counter astras loose at him by others, his lightness of hand and his fleetness of foot in every direction, forwards and backwards, sideways and all around, wheeling are past remarkable. Abhimanyu is his father's equal in his knowledge of the Shastras and Kriya Karmas. Arjuna looks at his boy and is filled with joy, as Indra Mahabhat will become joyful whenever he gazes down upon Arjuna. So does Dhananjaya become delighted when he sees Abhimanyu, who has upon his body every auspicious sign and mark, and who is invincible in battle, and can kill any adversary that comes before him. He is broad-shouldered as a bull, great and wide in his face, like a serpent's hood, and he is as proud and magnificent as a lion. He wields a great bow, and his prowess is like that of an elephant in must. Ah, he is as handsome as the moon when he is full. His voice is as deep as booming drums of rumbling thunder hands. Why, he is his uncle, Krishna's equal in courage and energy, in his sheer beauty and the perfection of his features. Meanwhile, Panchali also has five sons, one by each of her husbands, and those princes are all exceptional warriors, invincible in battle, unshakable as hills. She bears Pritivindya by Yudhishthira, Sutasoma by Brikodara, Srutakarman by Arjuna, Satanika by Nakula, and Sratusena by Sahadeva. She brings forth those five Shuras even as Aditi did the Adityas. Prescient and mystic Brahmanas say to Yudhishthira that because his son will bear the missiles of his enemies as the Vindhya mountains do raindrops, he should be called Prativindhya. The son Draupadi bears Bhimasena is born after Bhima performs 1,000 Somayagnas, and so he should be named Sutasoma. Arjuna's son is born after his return from his exile, during which he performed so many legendary feats, so that princes named Srutakarman for his father's fame. Nakula names his son Satanika after an enlightened and great Raharishi of yore, born in the line of Kuru. That son that Draupadi bears by Sahadeva is born under the constellation Kritika of Bani Daivata, and he is named after the Senapati of the army of the Devas, the Lord Srutasena, who is more commonly known as Kartikeya. Draupadi's five sons all are born a year apart, and they grow to be famous and devoted to one another. Rahan, Daumya, performs altar childhood rites in accordance with the Shastras. The Chudakarana, when their heads are first shaved, and the Upanayana, the investiture with the sacred thread. They are all princes of Dharma, well behaved and of excellent powers. When they have studied the Vedas, they go on to learn archery and to acquire the astras, both mundane and celestials, from Arjuna. O tiger among kings, the Pandavas see their broad-chested magnificent sons, truly equal to the Vaputras, all turned into Maharatas. and they are filled with joy. We're finished reading that. My brother in Christ, how long was this? I feel like I have been reading out of nowhere, like for the past 3 hours or so. What the fuck? I mean, it is. There is almost no place for me to stop to say anything at all on these last 4 or 5 pages. I almost didn't have the possibility of stopping, aside from inhaling and exhaling. So yeah, oh man, that was a lot. Let me see. Give me a second because I also want to check is everything working properly? Did we have no lag? Did we have no frame drops? Did we have no real problem? Did we have anything at all that let me see. No lag, no frame drops. It seems so far we're fine. So we might as well try to continue a little bit more. No, quote unquote a little. Uh, basically, like if it is possible, probably some 40 more minutes to try and be here until 5 p.m. for me so that I can be properly advancing with this instead of struggling so much. But well, here we are. Ah, man, give me a second because yeah, I need to drink water. Here we are. Canto 224. Kandava Daha Parva. Vaisampayana said, living in Indraprastha after having been sent there by the command of Dharatirashtra and Bhishma, the Pandavas begin to bring other kings under their sway. Their subjects live in the realm of Yudhishthira Dharmaputra as happily as a soul does in a body that bears every auspicious mark and has great punya. Bharata Rishabha, Yudhishthira lives by Dharma, Artha and Kama in due proportion, as if each of them is his friend, dear to him as his own self. Indeed, it appears that these three Purusharthas become personified on earth, and King Yudhishthira shines among them as the fourth aim of life. With Yudhishthira for their king, his people find a ruler who devotes himself to the regular study of the Vedas, one who constantly performs the Mahayagnas, and one who is the guardian of all the good. Through Yudhishthira's influence, all the kings of the earth find unwavering good fortune. Their hearts turn naturally in Dhyana to the Parabrahman, and Dharma swells in a tide everywhere, in every way, and with his four brothers around him and helped by a depending on them, that king shines forth as a great sacrifice to us. When the four Vedas attend upon it, countless learned Brahmanas with Daumya at their head, each one like a Brihaspati, wait upon Yudhishthira, just as the Devas and other celestials do upon Brahma. The people love Yudhishthira. Their eyes and their hearts are full of him, who is like a stainless full moon. They adore him not only because he is their king, but for himself. On his part, he always does what is good for them, what delights them. Sweetly spoken, intelligent, and wise Yudhishthira never speaks a harsh word, nor a lie, or anything hurtful or inappropriate. That best of all kings of the line of Bharata, blessed with unflagging vitality, passes his days in joy looking after his people as well as he looks after himself. With their dauntless prowess, his brothers bring other kingdoms under Yudhishthira's power, and they all spend their days in blemishless happiness, without an enemy to threaten their peace. One day, Arjuna says to Krishna, "Summer is here, Mudhusadana, let us go to the banks of the Yamuna and sport there all day, and return in the evening with our companions, Janardana." Krishna says, "Kaunteya, my very wish, let us go and sport in the waters as we please." Partha taking our friends with us. When with Yudhishthira's leave, Arjuna and Krishna set out with many friends for the banks of the river. Arriving at a certain place, Sylvan with tall trees and with many fine and lofty mansions, furnished with rare food and drink, with dazzling garlands and scented with fine perfumes, all for the pleasure of Krishna and Arjuna, a place that looks like a city in Devaloka. The companions immediately go into the lavish apartments within, shimmering with precious jewels, and out of the heat of the day. Once inside, they begin to take their pleasure as they please. O Mahabharata, the women, all with full round hips, deep bosom, and large bright eyes, unsteady on their feet from the wine they have drunk, begin to cavort exactly as Krishna and Arjuna direct them to. Some women go into the woods and frolic there, others wade directly into the river, while the rest make merry inside the mansions. What the fuck is make merry? What? Anyways. Draupadi and Subhadra, exhilarated with wine, begin to give away their costly robes and ornaments to those women, some of whom burst into joyful song, while others dance in abandon. Others joke and laugh loudly, all the while imbibing more drink. Soon, some of them argue and quarrel among themselves, while others speak intimately together in soft voices. Those mansions and the woods all around are full of enchanting music of flutes, lutes, and quiet drums. Ah, it is a place of delight and fortune embodied. Things being so, Krishna and Arjuna go off by themselves into the nearby forest to another place also full of fascination. The great soul Krishna and Arjuna, conqueror of enemy cities, sit there upon two priceless thrones. They sit talking about many things, among these of great heroes of the past and their legends. Suddenly, a Brahmana appears before Krishna and Arjuna, sitting there like the Aswin twins of heaven. The Brahmana is tall as a cedar tree. His skin is like molten gold. His beard is bright yellow and tinged with green, and his body great and wide in proportion to his height. He wears hat on his head and rags upon his body, but he is as brilliant as the morning sun. His eyes are wide and long as lotus petals and downy. He truly blazes with splendor. Seeing this Brahmana coming towards them, Arjuna and Krishna quickly rise and stand respectfully, waiting for him to speak. I think the proper conclusion for all of this that was read is probably this consists of two parts. The first one is how incredibly good is Yudhishthira at being a king, let's say. And what I wanted to talk about before was the take that was here. This passes passes his days in joy, looking after his people as well as he looks after himself. The notion of something that has been also said in other places, doing to what we want get done to us, doing to others what we want to get done to us. That same sense is applied here. Um, Yudhishthira is such a good king that he can, let's say, relate to every single one of his citizens, or every single one of those citizens that live in his kingdom, because he has come to a certain degree to such an acceptance of what he has on his hands that his whole kingdom functions like almost simply one. So that is the first part, and the second part I don't really get it. Like it is probably like simply celebration, but in a more literary manner, probably it is simply a setup. Like um, the last have not not have met. Yeah, I mean they must not have met. I read last incredibly. Best of all kings. I mean we don't think we have a kingdom so far, so I wouldn't go as far as to say that we have something like that here. But yeah, I think Yudhishthira is such a good king that basically that he represents the best of what could be possible in that sense. He's obviously there is also the mystic part of this because Yudhishthira is an Amsavatara, basically a reincarnation of one of the gods. That is why he's so incredibly capable of everything. So yeah, there is also that mystical part of the story. But on the other side, as I was saying, here we only have the setup for this new Brahmana who is going to meet Arjuna and Krishna simply. So yeah, let us see. Here, Canto 225. Kandavadaha Parva continued. Vaisampayana said that Brahmana speaks to Arjuna and to Krishna of the Satavatas, saying, "You who are so near to Kanadava Vana are the greatest Kshatriyas on earth. I am a voracious Brahmana, and I always eat a lot. Oh Vrishni, oh Partha, I ask you to appease my raging hunger. Give me enough to eat." Krishna and the Pandavas say, "Tell us what food you want, and we will try to give it to you." The blazing Brahmana says, "I do not crave ordinary food. Know that I am Agni. Give me food that I can consume." Indra constantly protects this Kandava forest, and for that reason, I cannot devour it. Deep in this Vana, there lives the Naga Takshaka with his brood and his followers, and he is Indra's friend. For his sake, the Bhagradhari protects the forest and all the other creatures that live in it. Ah, I long to devour the Gandhavana Vana, but the might of Indra prevents me every time I try. Whenever I blaze forth in flames, Indra pours down torrents of rain that extinguish them. Many attempts have I made to consume this Vana, and always I have failed. I cannot contain my hunger for this forest, and I come as a supplicant to the both of you, who are masters of weapons. If you help me, I know that I can have the food that I want. The jungle with your astras. No, okay, the jungle. With your astras, keep Indra's rains from falling and prevent any creature that dwells inside the Gandhavana from escaping. When I begin to feed, says Agni in his deep and crackling voice. Hanamihaya said, "Why did Agni want to devour the Gandhavana, full of all kinds of creatures and protected by the king of the Devas? Surely there must have been some grave cause for him to want to do this thing. Oh Brahmana, tell me about it in detail. Tell me also, O Muni, how the Gandhavana was consumed of old." Vaisampayana said, "Purushottama, I will tell you the tale of the conflagration that consumed the Gandhavana, as it has been told by the rishis and in the Purana. There was a king called Swetaki, blessed with untold strength and valor, who was an equal of Indra himself. No one on earth was his peer in yagnas, in dana, or gyana. Swetaki performed the five Mahayagnas and many others too, at all of which he gave bountifully to the Brahmanas present. The king's heart, Rahan, was always turned towards sacrifices, religious rites, and charity, and gifts of every kind. King Swetaki, of great intellect, undertook an endless sacrifice until the Ritviks who performed the rituals grew weak with exhaustion. Their eyes sore from years of being exposed to smoke from the Agnikunda, and they left that king, never wanting to participate in his yagnas anymore. However, the king never ceased asking his priests to return, which they refused to do because of their sore and painful eyes. Those Ritviks told him to ask other priests to complete the sacrifice that they had begun, which he did. After a short interval, the king wanted to perform yet another sacrifice, no one that would last 100 years, but no priest could he find to help him with it. Taking his family and friends with him, that famed king went and repeatedly implored the Ritviks, bowing to them again and again, praising them with the sweetest words and with more munificent gifts. All of them refused to undertake to perform the king's grand yagna. Now Tarharishi flew into a rage. He said to those Brahmanas in their asramas, Brahmanas, if I were a sinner, or if I did not revere you properly or serve you as I have done, surely I will deserve to be abandoned by all of you, without scruple. But neither I am depraved, nor do I fail to pay unfailing homage to you. Brahmanottamas, it does not become you to abandon me and to prevent me from performing the Mahayagna which I have set my heart. Brahmanas, I seek refuge in you. Bless me, be kindly towards me. If you do not help me, it will seem to be out of enmity and without just cause, and I will then take my service, my homage, and my gift to some other Brahmanas and beg them to perform my sacrifice. With this, the king fell silent. Parantapa, those priests knew very well that they could not sit at Swetaki's yagna, so they pretended to be annoyed and said acerbically, Best of kings, your sacrifices are incessant and endless. By performing them for years and years, we have become tired and weak. In view of this, it becomes you to spare us. Anakha, sinless, you have lost your judgment and impatiently come to us again and again. Go to Rudra, he will help you with your yagna. Now King Swetaki became truly angry. He went away to the mountains of Kailasa and sat there in Tapasya. Rahan, keeping the sternest bratas, Swetaki worshipped Mahadeva Shiva with fervent dhyana. For a long time he ate only fruit and roots. At times at the 12th hour, at others only at the 16th of the entire day. For 6 months, King Swetaki stood in meditation, with his arms raised skywards and his eyes blinking, like the trunk of a tree or a stone column planted in the ground. Oh, Bharata! Finally, Sankara became pleased with a tiger amongst kings and appeared before him. The god spoke in a calm, solemn voice to Swetaki. Rajaviagra, Parantapa, I am pleased with your tapasya. Be you blessed. Ask me now for the wound that you want, O king. The Rajarishi bowed low before Rudra of measureless tejas and said, Most illustrious, O you whom the three worlds worship, if you are truly pleased with me, Mahadeva, then help me perform my sacrifice yourself. O Devadeva, the god smiled and replied gently, we do not perform sacrifices ourselves, but since you have done such penance, Rahan, I will indeed help you with your yagna, but on one condition. Rajathiraja, king of kings, if you pour libations into a sacred fire without pause for 12 years with perfect devotion, being celibate all the while, then you shall have what you have asked for. King Swetaki did what Rudra said, and when 12 years had passed, he came back to the Trisulim, to Maheswara. When Sankara, creator of the worlds, saw the most excellent king Swetaki, he said at once, Gratified, you have satisfied me, Rahotama, with what you have done. However, Parantapa, it is the Brahmana's dharma to perform yagnas, so, scourge of your enemies, I will not help you myself with your yagna. On earth there lives a most pure and highly Brahmana who is an self-mind. His name is Durvasa, and that mighty Tehaswin will help you perform your sacrifice. So, go and make all preparations. Swetaki heard what Rudra said and then returned to his capital and began collecting everything he needed for his great sacrifice. When this had been done, he went again to Rudra and said, Deva, by your grace, I have gathered everything needed for the sacrifice. All my preparations are complete. Let me be installed as the sacrificer tomorrow. Rudra summoned Durvasa and said, Durvasa, this is Swetaki, best among kings, best of Brahmanas. At my command, you must help the king perform his yagna. The Rishi Durvasa said to Rudra, So be it. The Mahayagna of King Swetaki got underway with every proper ritual ordained, each in its proper season. Profuse gifts were bestowed upon all the Brahmanas present, and when, at last, the yagna was completed, the other priests who had come there at Durvasa's behest all went away with the moon asleep. All the other Sadasyas The resplendent guest who had been installed at the Yagna also departed. Now the noble king entered his own palace, adored by Brahmanas that were masters of the Veda, and eulogized by panegyrics and warmly congratulated by the people. This is the story of the Raharishi Swetaki, who later, upon his time coming, rose into Swarga, leaving behind incomparable fame on Bhumi, and also accompanied by the Ritviks and Sadasyas who had helped him accomplish his great sacrifice. During Setaki's own worship, Agni drank ghee uninterruptedly for 12 years. The clarified butter being poured in a constant stream into his mouth for that period. Having drunk so much ghee, Agni was so full and tired that he could not drink ghee from any other hand at any other yagna. Agnideva became pale and wan, lost his color, and he did not blaze as before. From that excess of 12 years, he lost his appetite, his vitality was sapped, and he became sick. When he felt ill and weak, he went to the abode of Brahma, whom everybody worships. Approaching the great deity upon his throne, Agni said, "Highest, I have drunk a surfeit of ghee at Sutaki's yagna, and I suffer from that excess even now. Lord of the universe, my splendor and my strength both wane daily, and I need your gaze to regain my original nature." Kirinagni Hatubaha Brahma Pitamaha said with a smile, "Mahatma, you drank a ceaseless stream of ghee for 12 years, and you have become ill from it. But do not despair, O Agni. You will soon have your health back and your pristine nature, for I will cure you of your sickness. The time has come. The fearful Gandavavana, home of the Asuras, which you once consumed with flames at the behest of the Devas, is now a home to myriad creatures. When you have devoured the fat of all those, you will have your glory back. So make haste, O Agni, consume the forest and all that live in it. That will be your cure." Hearing the Paramatman, Agni flew towards the Gandavavana. Arriving, he erupted, blazing forth in wrath, with his friend Vayu fanning his flame gustily. Seeing the forest on fire, those that dwelt within it strove hard to quell the conflagration. Hundreds of thousands of elephants, thundering about in fear and rage, fetched water from rivers, lakes, and streams in their trunks and tried to douse the flames. Thousands of many-hooded snakes, panic-stricken, spewed water on the fire from their countless mouths. So too, Mahartarishabha, every creature that lived in the forest, each on its way, joined in the effort, and they quickly extinguished the inferno. Agni flared forth again, and again the denizens of the jungle quenched his flames. Yet again Kutubaha burned, and yet again they put him out, all of 7 times. Eh, very nice. Yeah, no, no, no. I wish I could say something, but I haven't been going maybe for too long because I might as well go to take a break right now. Hey man, what a what an incredibly crazy story this always story is. At the very least, we don't have any particular problem reading it, you know. But man, the, I think there is nothing as amazing as the different descriptions that are given here, and even more, all the text that is there to be, let's say, imagined and put into a congruent vision is incredibly taxing. So in that sense, it is probably one of the best books to use the, I would say, imagination muscle of the mind or something like that. But if it wasn't for that, my man, what a tiring experience it is. And if there was no message, I don't think we would be able to keep doing it. Because yeah, I try to lie, but it really is in some ways taxing. So yeah, we had a great time, but we need to leave. We had a great journey once again, reading, enjoying the lessons, enjoying the messages, but we also need to take a break, and even more right now because I can feel it leaving my body, quote unquote, that I am getting sleepy. So yeah, it was beautiful. I, I really can't say it properly enough. It is very nice always to hear what is there in the Mahabharata, on the studies that we do, on the lessons that we go through. So yes, we had a great time, we had a great journey, but also it happens. I do not think so far that it is anymore, sadly. It is simply the reality itself that we need to take a break. We need to do something else, less demanding, let's say. And yeah, we might as well go entertain ourselves with something more lax. I think it is the proper term. Something more, basically that, more chill. Because for now, we did our best, we did our job, we analyzed some text, we went over some stuff, but as I said, like, I don't know, 10 times already, we might as well do something different now. In this case, um, let me get here. In this case, we're going to raid somebody who's playing Firewatch because I think that is a pretty chill game. I think that is a pretty relaxed game to keep it with the flow of what we're going for right now. So yeah, we're raiding into there it is. Raiding Grincherin, who, as I said before, is playing Firewatch. We're going to enjoy the break. Tonight, I haven't seen what is it that we have to do yet, but whenever the time comes, we're going to deal with it. So far, now, as always, thanks for being here, thanks for lurking, thanks for watching the world, thanks for talking. In particular, today it was to Runespoon and John, as always, thanks. Wait, I think this is the right message. Yeah, I have it here. And as always, thanks for everything. Thanks for being here, for the opportunity. Whenever it happens in the future, we are going to come here once again and do something else. But for now, we deserve to take a break. And we even more deserve to live and to properly take care, rest, hydrate ourselves. So yes, thanks for all. Stay safe. And whenever it happens, it happens. Now, goodbye. Stay safe. And yeah, Raid. Thanks for everything. And yeah, Raid. Bim, 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 bim. Bim, 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 bim.